Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking that button. And maybe you're curious as you noticed I haven't been around. You've seen me, for those of you who've seen me on other podcasts and you are familiar with my work, thank you for clicking on this video. You may have noticed I've been kind of quiet lately. Life's taken on some unexpected turns for me in this past season, and personally, both vocationally and spiritually, I'm just working on some things. I'm not here to unpack all of those today, but some things are still tender. Some things are still private. And, some things just don't belong on a microphone. So what I can say is this past season's included loss. It's included real loss. And it's changed me in many ways, and I'm still integrating what that means. And I'm praying, and I'm still allowing the Lord to speak into my life, and those that he's placed in my life that care about me are still speaking into my life. And so I think of them as a blessing. But I just want to say a cautionary turn when things happen that you don't have all the details is that we live in a very suspicious world, as we see with the death of Charlie Kirk, and everybody speculating about who caused his death and people profiting off of that like Candace Owens is doing and other things like that. I just want to say, it's easy for each of us when someone disappears or goes away or something happens to fill in the gap with all kinds of possible narratives. And some of those narratives are fair. Some of those are not fair. But what matters really isn't just me correcting every version of what's happened with me or what other people feel or think. It's really just to continue to live and think in terms of pleasing God through the truth and being merciful to people. We don't often know why people do the things they do, and I think sometimes it just boils down to trust. And if you trust somebody that cares about you, you may not always want to fill in that gap with suspicion. And suspicion is something that human beings are worried about because we're all afraid of being hurt. But oftentimes suspicion can, I feel, lead to many, many more hurts, because actually oftentimes what people come up with in their head is worse than the actual facts and the actual reality. And we live in a world that loves to feed on fear, and fear is a big part of how people make their currency in Hollywood or on podcasts or all kinds of things. And so I just caution us that there's a reason why the Bible talks so much about mercy, extending mercy to people that you disagree with, extending mercy to stories, even if there are holding ambiguities in your mind where you say this one thing, but it's different from the other thing. And we just don't always know all the answers. And I think that we have to be okay sometimes with that in life. And we still have to make decisions, but we don't have to make them with such vitriol or anger towards anyone. And it's really what I'm trying to do and pivot as I move forward in what I like to do. And so I just ask that you be graceful to everyone involved in me, and pray that God opens up some opportunities. So I'm back here really to talk about the things that I'm passionate about, things that I like. Some of them are nerdy. Some of them are theology, obviously. Some of you sent in questions and continue to do that here. And if you'd like to send in questions, send them here on the YouTube channel right here underneath. Just write one in there. Or if you have my phone number, you can always text me. I like to answer Bible questions or just nerdy questions. Or if you ask me what I thought about the latest movie or the leaked trailer for the next Marvel film that went out on the Avatar, which I'm probably not going to see because I don't like the Avatar movies. Sorry. They make $1 billion, but I only know like one fan. So anyway, things like that. And I can even talk about things that I would shy away from talking about on other podcasts, which is things like politics and things that are going on. And so if you have some of those questions, I'd love to be able to answer them, because I speak for me now and not necessarily trying to do anything or win anybody over to a particular cause or to interfere with anybody's particular ministries. And so I'm able to kind of speak that stuff. And so I from time to time, I'm just going to throw up what I call these highway chats here online, because I am near the highway somewhere. And so I'd like to just chat with you from time to time about things that I'm passionate about. And so hopefully if you're here listening to this, you're at least passionate enough to click on what the heck does this dude have to say. Obviously it's a lot. If you've known me from the past, I'm not short of words, I'm not short of opinions, But also, I think that that's good. It's good to have healthy discussions. I think we live in a society that everyone holds really deep and convicting thoughts, but nobody has the deep and convicting ability to communicate those without getting angry with somebody. So I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to talk about the things I'm passionate about, and hopefully you are. And if you are passionate, that we care about the other person. This is where the mercy comes in, to hear people out, to step into their world, not to distance ourselves from others when things get too rough or too hard. And I don't think there's enough of that in the world. And I think the more we polarize, the worse things are going to get, the more speculations we're going to fill in those gaps. And I'm just not interested in doing that. So I will talk to anyone about almost anything. So I've got a few projects coming up in the future. There's a podcast I'll probably be participating with. More about that when it starts to form. It'd be nice to get back to podcasting long form. From time to time, I might do some stuff here when I feel motivated to jump on and talk about something. And yeah, lately I've been reading the book of Revelation a lot because I'm involved in a Bible study that has to do with the book of Revelation. So if you have some of those questions, might be interesting. I've been in that book, been in Colossians a little bit. What else? Oh, I've been watching Assassination Classroom. And so I might give a rundown on just my thoughts on Assassination Classroom and some of the things that it prompts while I watch it. It's an anime. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it's an anime. So I've been watching that. I've been watching some other stuff on YouTube. Obviously, Stranger Things dropped, so I'm interested to talk about that when the second part of that 3-part 5 series breakdown comes out. But I think that's better. I think it's better when they break up things so that there's a little bit more talk. Stranger Things, I think, is one of the last shared communal TV watching experiences all of us have had. All of us are polarized, not just about everything else, but also about the films we watch, and even the filmmakers are starting to be polarizing. So Stranger Things is a phenomenon. It's still one of the last phenomenons we all sit around and talk about when it drops. So hopefully we have more shared cultural events like that, like, when people used to go to the movies. Anyway, I also went and saw an early screening preview of Song Sung Blue, which is with Hugh Jackman. And it's not him being Neil Diamond. It's actually him. It's a true story about an impersonator, Neil Diamond impersonator who was popular in Milwaukee, I believe it was. Cute movie. I went to a secret screening where you don't know what you're going to see, and they preview the movie early, so I've already seen it. And so if you want my thoughts on that, stick around. And hopefully you enjoy this video and anything else I have to say. So anyway, talk to you later. Bye.